one. Welcome to another episode of Progress Always. Mike Anders here with West Texas' finest dentist, Ryan Coulon, founder of Coulon Dental. What's going on, brother? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be spending a Monday night with you.
Man, I am so excited for this conversation. We've known each other. We go way back through a couple of degrees, 1 degree of separation in our collective best friend, Jacoby Kendrick, who's doing big things out there in real estate. We were teammates at the academy, and you guys came up at Midland Lee together. And you know, it's been really cool to watch your evolution, both prior to, during our work together, and beyond. And I'm really excited to kind of pick that apart for the audience with you, because it's not like we started working together because you were living a subpar life.
Mm-hmm.
And still, with all the achievement, multiple practices, and an ever expanding one, not to mention all the work that you're doing in travel and mission work and pouring into others to help their journey in dentistry and just professionally go that much smoother than it was for you. I mean, not to mention you got your wife, you got your girls. There's no shortage of busy.
Yeah,
And as you alluded to prior to us jumping on the mic, as great as all that was, all that is, as noble as all that is, you were still putting some really, really important aspects of your life on the back burner. And those consequences were starting to come to the ground. So I think that's the dark side of the coin for people that are high achievers and people of impact and influence, is that they're not necessarily skeletons in the closet, but in pursuit of something great out there in front of us, we have a very natural propensity, if we're not careful, to leave really important parts of ourselves behind.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was that. What was the post that got you that really struck a nerve with you? The intentional adversity thing really created this conversation about how we were going to work together. And so I kind of want to start there.
Sure.
Prior to our working relationship, coach and client, what were some of the things that were kind of operating in the periphery or in your blind spots that you may not have been aware of that were kind of stunting your growth?
So interestingly, like you mentioned that post where you talk about the adversity piece, and I'd seen a few other posts, and I was digging like the messaging. I was digging it's like we've been reading some of the same books, and like the funny thing I'll admit to you right here is that I'm commenting on that thinking I got this all figured out a little bit. Almost like I want to know, I have my idea what I think that means. What do you think it means? And it was like, oh, I really liked your answer back. And we kind of went back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't respond to that message at that point with the intention of doing coaching or
Mm-hmm.
to do any work with you other than just like, I've always enjoyed hanging out with you. And I'm like, man, this dude's into some good stuff. Let me just, because I'd been doing some work or just wrote a blog or something about this topic almost. And I wanted to know what you meant more by it. And the funny thing is like all of a sudden it's like next thing I know, I'm setting up a phone call and doing some pre-coaching assessment kind of a situation. But I didn't slow it down once it went that direction, because I was in that. It was one of those things where it's like you knew it was the right thing at the right time. And I was like, this is a godsend. And I wasn't really searching for it. I wasn't looking for something at that time. I was busy. I was in my stuff. I was doing my work. But one thing I can tell you for sure, for me, I've always been open to coaching. I've been out of dental school for 10 years now. And out of 10 years, I've never not had a coach, sometimes multiple coaches. So, people look at the externals and they look at success and they say, oh, I want that. Well, there's a dark side even to getting to that. And there's hard work and there's a lot that goes into that. But I would venture to say, if you're listening to this podcast and you don't have a coach right now, what are you doing? I mean, Michael Jordan in his prime had a coach. Tiger Woods in his prime had a coach. So when I look at it that way, I realize I probably need a coach. And I think the cool thing about deciding what direction you want to spend your energy on your self improvement is where I wasn't really looking to do at least what I perceived you guys to do, which was like health coaching, physical nutrition planning, and workout scheduling, and things like that. That wasn't really what I wanted to do. Well, it's what I wanted to do, probably. It's not what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes on top of that, like the fact that it's like, okay, yeah, y'all do those things. So we can get into that. But it's like we got to recreate the system sometimes. We got to reboot the CEO to even be able to get his ass in the gym a little bit, or to be able to not be too overwhelmed with, hey, why don't we try this nutrition plan? Like if you're busy, your cortisol's through the roof and you're on that slow dying plan and don't even know it, you don't have space in your life to take on another big project of, working on the physical aspects of your body and things like that. So it was a blessing to have run into you at the time that I did, because I'm a faith filled guy, and I don't believe anything happens on accident. So I don't believe that we bumped into each other on accident. And I do believe that it was, for me, the right place at the right time situation. But yeah, that initial post, I really just connected to it on a deeper level. Like I resonate with people that are like me, that
Mm-hmm.
are sending similar messages that I would send. And the hard part about being a coach myself and doing some coaching and consulting with dentists and dental teams is sometimes you can lose sight of you, and you need a coach to help you see you again. And that's kind of where I was at. I was needing to kind of find who I was again.
Dude, I want to, oh, this is such a great tee up, man. Uh you'd made mention as we were catching up that you were never going to be unbusy. And part of the journey that you had to acknowledge that in the very beginning, it got a little harder. We added some friction. And that's not always the case. That's not universal. And still, where we inevitably got in terms of bringing your health back to a priority, we had to come back to alignment first.
Yeah.
We typically, as we start into our growth journey, whether it's our health, our wealth, our relationships, we come into these experiences with these delusions of grandeur of what we think we want based on these expectations that are created and influenced by the ether,
Mm-hmm.
the six-pack abs and the $1 million bank account and the supermodel wife with the PhD and is an entrepreneur. And, it's like, those are all cool things to want.
Mm-hmm.
And as we did some digging together, the ultimate question is, but do you really want those things?
Right.
And when we unpack that, dude, you came off the brakes, man, and everything was starting to move with light speed, because in that moment, because we found out what Ryan really wants for Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
now we're operating in alignment.
And to know Ryan is to know that crash and burn start. That's the only way I'm going to learn. I mean, I'm gonna be, because starting out, it's like I want to hit this program, and I want to. Most people get there in 5 weeks. I'm gonna get there in 3. That's my mentality. That's how I'm always thinking about these things. So I approached it like I approach everything, and I wanted it all. I wanted it yesterday, and I went to work on it. And then for the first time in a really long time, like what I decided I was gonna do wasn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
When I decide something in general, it's already done. I've made the decision. I'm gonna put in the work. I'm gonna put in energy. I'm gonna make it happen. But was a different place for me because it definitely that wasn't happening for me. And what I couldn't have imagined is how out of alignment that I was. Right, going into this, if you'd have said, what are the odds that you're out of alignment? Well, most people don't even know what that means. I teach this to other people. I would have said there's zero chance. I got a vision, I got a mission, I know my core values. No way I'm out of alignment until you are. And so what was interesting is the reason I was struggling to get to the destination is the destination was for somebody else. It wasn't for me. But it's a story that I had created, or it's a story that I had, or a destination that I wanted to go to 10 years ago or 5 years ago. But the current Ryan wanted something different. And just for everyone listening, I really did have those thoughts of like, I want to be that dude. Somebody that walks in the room and everybody's like, yeah, he's that dude. But at the end of the day, what it shifted to for me, y'all aren't going to believe this, is like, I just wanted to feel good. And when I shifted from this to I just want to feel good, all of a sudden everything started to fall into place. And the reasons and the whys and everything was in alignment, allowed me to actually move closer to that goal. But I think that's true for a lot of people. We have these goals in our head and they're somebody else's goals. They're not ours, and they're not built from a current operating system and a current now status as a human being and what you're trying to do on the planet. So for me, as I shifted, I want to feel good. Then I was able to do the things it took to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So that still kind of blows me away that happened, because I'm the dude that's done 75 hard a couple times. You know what I mean? The thing that's almost impossible to do. Like, I do those things. It's fun to me. I like experimenting with myself that way. But this was different than that. It wasn't about experimenting and seeing, can I tough it out? I'm tough, but why not be in alignment?
Yeah.
And that's what I remember my breakthrough moment being was like when I thought my coach was about to come at me and be like, dude, what's going on, bro? Like, you need to come on. He was like, it was more like, I'm going to say love and kindness, but like understanding, because I think you knew that I was sort of out of alignment and you needed to let me kind of run out of real estate, so to speak, get to the end of my line, and then kind of just slowly reel me back in and help me figure out what I actually wanted.
It's a process, and it's the long game. We just had our naturopath, Dr. Drobot, on last week, and we were talking about, folks that are cut from this cloth, they have a hard time being told no. We have a even harder time being told to do less, because we are so used to, fuck it, I'll do it. Oh, that you can't make it happen, I'll make it happen. I'll take that on too. Don't worry, I got it, right? And that behavior has gotten us this far.
Yep.
And at some point, it's not going to take us any further. It's actually going to start working against us.
Yep.
Because as we evolve, it's going to require a different version of ourselves to move the needle.
Yeah. It reminds me of I don't remember the author. You probably know off the top of your head, but he wrote Peak Performance. So he's the peak guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote the first book, and it's all about like, just crushing stuff, right? Then he wrote another book, but his third book is interesting. He's writing a book to undo all the wrongs that he did in the first two books, and what he's seeing from clients, dealing with burnout and depression and things that like, oh, we can't just keep pushing at this level indefinitely. You can do anything for a season of time. And I think that's what, like you said, we're cut from that cloth. We can make it happen if we need to make it happen. But he had to write a whole new book to start to unravel, like, hey, I messed y'all up, and I gotta do right by society and write this third book. It says I was wrong about a lot of stuff, and we better take a different approach to some of this, being grounded and being mindful and, having alignment. And, so that's I don't know why that popped into my head about that.
Yeah, no, it's the perfect, testimonial.
Well, it was because it's, he had all the success. If you look at
Mhm.
his client list, it was like everybody.
Yeah.
They
Oh
were
yeah.
they were killing it
Hmm.
until they weren't.
They were killing it and slowly dying, man. Like
Yeah.
it's a really horrible combination. And a lot of what we talked about in last week's conversation was around the fact that we got to get you back to normal before we can start talking about performance. And I think this is a lot of your journey, because the expectation that you came in with was not impossible, not beyond reality, but there was a huge chunk in the middle that we completely skipped.
Yeah.
And what you're taught, I just want, when you finally came back to, I just want to feel good. What does that look like? My nutrition's on point. I'm getting good sleep. My
Mhm.
family is taken care of. I know they love me. They know I love them. Work, my professional life is moving at a trajectory that I'm pleased with. I'm training consistently. I'm taking care of myself. We like to talk about that shit like it's optimal performance.
Mhm.
That's what's supposed to be normal.
Right.
If you truly have the high standard for yourself that people that run in our circle say that they do, that should be normal. And
Yeah.
once we're there, now we can talk about peak performance,
Yeah.
because everything that laundry list of things that I just mentioned are prerequisites for peak performance.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to talk about that because it sounds so slow, it's so boring, it's so monotonous.
Hmm.
But we gotta get there. And now, once we're consistent in that realm, now we can take the brakes off.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that that conversation really brought you back to the forefront of my mind. I was like, this is exactly what Ryan went through. That was your journey.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people that are, working so hard to be successful. Like, you need to define what that looks like for you, because you could be chasing some other vision of success, what other people might call ridiculously successful, and you're miserable. Well, that's not much success there if you're miserable. So I think defining success for each person at each point in our lives is a good activity to kind of stop and just say, hey, what do I want for my life right now? How do I want to be intentionally living, you know, in this next 18 months to achieve these certain goals, versus, more money, more fame, more power equals success. I it's that is that's naive. That seems like a young kid's game, and I'm starting to shift into a different phase and season of life, which is so weird. Which I think is why my goals and my definition of success and even what I wanted had to shift. Didn't have to shift. I could shut it all down and start, lifting 3 times a day and do not, but like, at what cost? There's some things that I also care about that would probably not do so well if I made that choice. And so, with the life that I currently live, what do I want for myself? And I always say you can't pour out of an empty cup. That's another one that I had to like really understand, that I'm not being selfish by taking care of me and spending this time and money getting a coach, and time and money, getting in the cold plunge in the sauna when you don't want to be getting in the cold plunge in the sauna. Like these are things that you do when you want to have more than enough in the cup, when your kids, when your wife, when your team comes to you and says, hey Ryan, I'm having a hard time. You want to be able to pour something out of that, not just be, yeah, don't talk to me, I got nothing to tell you. I'm
Mhm.
empty.
One of my favorite parts about our time together in the beginning was when we did that time audit, because a huge friction point was I ain't got no time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building out this building. I got to manage these teams. I'm traveling the world, and I got these 4 girls at home that I got to take care of. Man, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
when we sat down and did a deeper dive and realized part of the friction was an inability to let go and delegate appropriately, we found, if memory serves, about 5 or 6 hours in the week that you got back so that you could take care of yourself and not interrupt any of that flow as a
Yeah.
result. Because that's the fear.
Yep.
I have these conversations all the time. It's like, oh shit, if I take this time and I put myself first, everything that I've built comes crumbling down.
Mm-hmm.
My family will resent me for putting myself first. People don't say these things out loud, but these are really deep, intrinsic, worst case scenarios that are
Yeah.
built on a foundation of sand. They're just so not true. And I remember working with another client, I had them do the exercise. Ask your family, if I take this time for myself so that I can get right with me and be better for you guys, would you hate me for it?
Hmm.
And they came back unanimously. I'm talking about 3 kids and a husband. Whatever you need, we support that.
Yeah.
And she broke down in tears, man. And if there's anything that I would love for you to just take deep in this conversation, is how significant that was for you, because it led to that white space that brought you to that conclusion that, yeah, fuck, man, I just need to get well again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you need to have some KPIs around like how you're still doing in that category, because I think that white space starts to kind of creep back in again really, really well. So one of my metrics that I look at is I look at my Fridays. My Fridays, I don't see patients typically. It's like it is my day to run the business and work on the business and work on myself, and have some me time and take care of my body and go get a massage. Like I have these standing things. So when I look at my Fridays, if my Fridays are just as stacked as my Monday through Thursday, I know I'm not in a good place. Like I guarantee you I'm not the same. I'm not happy. I'm not thriving. I'm just surviving mode. And you know, the only people that can put stuff in my Fridays are me. I can't blame anybody else. But it starts to feel like you just don't have anywhere else to put these important things. And so I think as you're starting to free up some white space, just know that it's a process, that even that's a process and a journey, and that you're going to do really well. And then all of a sudden you're going to turn around and you're going to be like Ryan at the end of this year going, who scheduled all these things? Because they're all good things. It's easy to get excited and get wrapped up and lose a little bit of focus on what matters. The other thing I would say is as you make that switch, as you kind of create that alignment, create that space, you will inevitably start to be, I think, asked to do more by your family, by people, that see you doing big things in your profession. Like you're gonna have opportunities because you're gonna be killing it. You're gonna be thriving in what you do. That only attracts more opportunities. And so I think part of creating that white space is setting yourself up for this, bombardment of people who want your time, want to know what you know, how you did what you do. And so I think my next little piece is just learning to evaluate and being better at saying no, or not right now, or not feeling like I'm always living like with 3 hours left in my life. Live it like I got 40 years left, and know that it'll be there tomorrow, as opposed to like, and so that's the gift and the curse. That's that a lot of that mindset and thinking comes from, I do wake up every day excited, ready to change the world, and don't take any days for granted. Don't take any conversation for granted, any moment with people for granted. That's good, but you probably shouldn't take that same mindset to your calendaring. is,
Right.
is what I would say. Take that to your being present and being with people in your day to day, but don't schedule your calendar that way. You get this. I think your calendar is a place where you get to be the most selfish, and nobody knows it but you. Nobody's going to feel that. You get to be extremely selfish. If you see somebody needs your time and your Friday's available and nothing else is, man, I got nothing, because I owe it to myself. I care enough about Ryan, because what I don't see penciled in on Friday is me. And I'm valuable. I'm worth me saying, no, I got nothing this week. How about December? How about January? Like let's I want to be there for you, but I got no white space. And when I quit treating myself, my time as white space, and started treating it as true block time, that I wouldn't give away somebody else's time. If I had something, I wouldn't say, yeah, I'll set that meeting. I'll cancel them. I wouldn't do that to somebody else. Why would I do that to myself?
Mm-hmm. And I want to applaud you for that. Where what that looks like in real world application between the two of us. I hit you up to have this conversation almost a month ago. You're like, "Hey, dog, we're looking at November, maybe after Thanksgiving."
Yeah.
An earlier version of Ryan would have been like, "Let me figure out how to squeeze you in."
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that, but that is true. And I felt bad. I had that moment where I felt bad as my guy. I wanted to do it for you, but I really did. I chose myself, and you helped me create that. And for that, I'll be forever grateful. I choose myself because you created the mindset or the understanding that I am worth putting some other things aside, even really good things like this. So that's a gift, brother. Thank you for that.
Thank you, man. You're welcome. Which brings me to your circle, your family, your homies, the people that you bring in, that are a culture fit for Coulon Dental. The right ones understand. I had our new member management coordinator at HQ. She's dealing with some member stuff, who's also a good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If I got nothing going on, I'm gonna stop and chop it up, mm-hmm. And they're over there, shooting the breeze at the front desk. And, at the tail end of their conversation, I'm passing by like a leaf in the wind. Oh, I need to talk to him about this thing. And I shut the door to my office. And when the door's shut, hey, that's the bat signal. Do not disturb. Yep. And my girl stops her in her tracks. She's like, "Hey, once that door shut, you're gonna have to shoot him a text or a smoke signal or something. Leave him a note and slide it under, but you can't be touched right now."
Yeah. And
two things happened. One, I had the respect of our team enough to like, "Hey, no, this is one of his non-negotiables, and we respect that for each other." And my homegirl on the other side of that conversation that needed that conversation understood and respected the boundary. Right. And that's one of the signs of, do you have the right people on your team when you put that stake in the ground, draw that line in the sand, and you're like, I'm not saying no, but it's going to be a not right now. Like, cool. I got you. When it works, it works.
Yeah. Well, what's really cool about that too, what I see in my team as I've modeled that a little bit, is it's giving them permission to do that for themselves. I can remember specifically coming in. I was, Hilda, hey, I need you to talk. She goes, actually, I would love to do that with you, Ryan. And I've got something really important right in front of me. Can we schedule some time to talk about that? And I was like, dang, this is awesome. I was so proud, but because it wasn't as urgent as I had made it to be. But normally in my world, when I kind of like stop and say, hey, I need something, everybody like full attention. And that seems great, but it's actually not very healthy for an organization. Because if we're all there and we have a reason we're there, then when we're gone, people miss us and things don't get done, or else we shouldn't have been there to begin with. And when we have things going on, every time we're saying yes to some conversation, we're saying no to some other something, and that may be fine. But as we've kind of, as they've seen me kind of close my door, which I got these things off of Amazon, and I actually installed them in all the doors of the executive office. So my brother, who's a partner in the business, my C.E.O, who's everybody's constantly lined up at her door as well. They're these little plates, and you can slide them. Like, you can have your door open. The door's open. Stop in. The door's closed. You look down, and is it green or is it red? If it's green and it's really important, knock and go ahead. If it's red, move on along. So we've literally implemented that in the practice as a way of like, not, and I have a highly relationship-based practice. We love each other. We want to have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's saying is I value myself enough I'd like to leave on time today. And if I have this 30-minute conversation with you, I'm not going to get this task done and I'm going to stay late. But I care about myself enough to say, I'm not staying late. This is important. We're going to schedule that. We're going to make sure it's important, make sure I have the time, but I'm not going to do it by sacrificing my time to be able to do it.
Oh yeah. And it's also interesting when you put things into routine, you create time, space, and energy for honest conflict. Because now we can just be real about things, and it's not abrupt. It's not an inconvenience. This is the time and the place for the real.
Yeah.
And if it's not an emergency, if it's not a category 5, well, that can wait till Tuesday 9 a.m. We'll get that figured out. I'll put it on the board so everybody knows that it's coming. You know what I mean? These are things that you can implement from a cultural perspective that gets everybody on board. And to your point, having that tight-knit, highly relational practice, that team, it's like, I know that my voice is going to be heard.
Yeah. Another piece that I would add to that too is, as a recovering overfunctioner and someone who's got, my brain works fast. Like if you have a problem, I can solve it for you really quickly, or if I have enough details, right? But especially in my place, in my office, like I'm the guy, like the answer guy. That's not a good thing, because it's also keeping other people small. So what I've noticed is I've implemented some of this, like, hey, if it's not, like you said, category 5 important, we're going to schedule it Tuesday. By the time Monday rolls around, I'll get a text message that says, hey, I know we got that thing set up Tuesday, but I got it figured out. I'm good. Now you're creating a self managing human who can solve big problems themselves. I'm creating the environment that says you can go figure that out on your own, because my team's not sitting around waiting for me on all the way till Tuesday. That's the other thing I know about my team. We're not waiting until Tuesday to get the answer if it's knowable. Now, if it's not knowable and they need me specifically because they can't move forward, then it waits till Tuesday. But I've seen a lot of problems that were unsolvable all of a sudden get solved. We got a bunch of smart people walking around that joint just with, me saying, no, I'm not going to think for you right now during my time, on my day or my moment. Like I'm not going to make this as easy. I'm going to help you, but it's going to be Tuesday. And once I say Tuesday, they're going, no, I'm not waiting until Tuesday. I'm going to go solve this thing.
Yeah, man, you got to create that empowering environment. You know, and that's like the Achilles heel of leadership is, you know, to your point, you're the problem solver. You know all the ins and outs because you're intra-departmental. You know, you're the all-seeing, you're the wizard behind the curtain. You got a toe in every pond, as you should.
Yeah.
But also, the whole reason that you have people in these seats is because you trust them to solve these problems.
Yep.
And if you don't give them the opportunity to do their job, well, then what are they there for?
Yeah. I got another KPI that I create these little things, and I don't really think about them. They're just sort of in the back of my brain operating, but it's how long is the line at my door? And it used to be just how long is the line, but I realized, you know, no, there's stuff that only I can answer, and I need like they. So if I finish something early, let's say I've got 45 minutes, and what'll happen is they'll know I finished a patient early. They'll see that 45 minutes, and they're going, well, this is my moment, right? Unless I got the door closed or something, but the door's open. This is my moment. I will get a line that starts to form. So I used to think it was good not to have any line. I think that's dumb. I think if you're available, you want to have an open door policy, you want to get shit done, like get your people what they need to move forward, especially if they're waiting on you. Don't be the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
So the new way I started tracking was out of the 6 people in line, were at least 5 of those things that truly only I could answer. Right. And if it was, we're still kicking ass. I'm just a bit of a bottleneck, unfortunately. And that's going to happen sometimes, but it was real. They needed me for something specific. Now, if, you know, 2 out of the 6 really needed me and the other 4 needed to think and do some digging on their own, well, I know that maybe I'm not doing such a good job being a good leader in these other moments. So I'm trying to get better right now at when they come in my office. Even if I know the answer, I'm going to ask them, like, is there any way you could know that before you came in here? Well, yeah, I could. Okay, go ahead. Go do it and come back.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like a waste of time initially because I knew the answer right then. But you're enabling.
Yeah. Well, and at the same time, what happens the next time you're on a mission down in Brazil?
Yeah.
And that question needs to get answered.
Yep.
You got to know, dog, you know?
And if you don't know, you know how to find out. I mean,
yeah. And after you figure it out, put it in the manual, document it, you know? And I love that because it may not seem like it in a certain level for somebody who's naive or lacks a certain level of awareness, but you know, you don't have those kind of people on your team in the first place. You respect them enough to entrust them with figuring it out. And once and this is something that we preach at Next Level. Once you've exhausted all your options, to include the team, right? Joanna, did you talk to Matt? Matt, did you talk to Samantha? Samantha, did you talk to Alyssa? Alyssa, did you talk to Joe? Joe, did you talk to Nicole? Oh, you haven't talked to any of them? Why are we sitting here right now? You didn't legitimately exhaust all the resources you had available.
Yep.
Because when we put this into practice, it gave everybody the autonomy they needed to make decisions in the moment. They know where their left and right lateral limits are. Yeah. And at the same time, it created bandwidth so that we can start pursuing some of these strategic initiatives that didn't exist before because you're putting out all those fires.
Yeah, you're building resilient humans. You're building resilient humans who can think for themselves. And you're bringing the information, you're bringing the decision making down to the level of the information. Like nobody can make that decision better than someone who sits in it all day. But for some reason, we're kind of like beat into thinking, well, I better not make this call. It's above my pay grade. It's, you know, it's like, wait, what? Who's the best person to make it? The one with the information. And resourcefulness is the piece that I would say is probably my favorite attribute in a team, any team member. You don't have to know everything, but if you're resourceful, you know how to find out what you need to know to solve any problem.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was like one of the big lessons, the big nuggets I took with me from leadership in the Marine Corps. No, you don't have to know everything. That's an impossible task. What's more important is that you understand and know where to find the answer.
Yeah.
You know, that is a true demonstration of competence. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
And there's so much nuance to things. So, you know, when you approach it from that standpoint, it's like, okay, I don't need to commit everything to memory. I just need to know where the resources are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the really fun game when you get to that point, because now you can flip things on their head, and instead of, you know, the service flowing upstream to you, you can now pour into your people and start asking questions like, hey, how can I serve you? How can I make things easier for you? What resources do you need? What are you working on, and how can we move it forward? Because now you're available to make that happen.
Yep. And you get to create those leadership teams within your tribe, the people that have been in the culture for longer that get it. I'm sure you've seen this. You know, Simon Sinek talking about the Navy SEALs, and he was working with the SEALs, and he was asking the SEALs, like, how do y'all select like SEAL Team 6?
Mm-hmm.
Like every dude in that room is bad. Like they're smart, they're talented, they're driven. Nobody's there on accident. It took a lot to get into that group, but inside of that group
Mm-hmm.
there's dudes, SEAL Team 6. How do you pick those guys? How do you put that together? And he talks about that chart where it's like on the y-axis you got performance, on the x-axis you have trust. And he talked about, you know, the easiest one is, you know, low performance, low trust. They're gone. Fire
Right.
fast, hire slow. Get the frick out of here. Nobody has struggles with that one. But the one that people struggle with the most is what? High performance, low trust.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the SEALs talk about it is, you know, I may trust you with my life, but do I trust you with my money and my wife? You know?
Oh, yeah.
And those are the hardest ones to deal with, because you got a high performer, but they're low trust, and they're low trust for a variety of reasons, whether they're unreliable in terms of like what you can expect from them. They go rogue when you make an agreement in a team. They say, oh yeah, well I did something different. It worked out great because they're a high performer. They're smart, but that's still low trust. You didn't tell me. You didn't say, hey, I'm calling an audible here. So those high performance, low trust are the tough ones. So what I've started to look for is on my team, where are my middle performers that are super high trust? Because those are the people that I want to start to do leadership development with, because they're really close to being that high performance, high trust, that's, you know, SEAL Team 6.
Mm-hmm.
People think that they're going to take a low trust, high performer and then get them to that upper right quadrant of high trust, high performance. No shot. They said, take the middle performer, high trust, and develop them.
Yes. That's who you pour into, 100%. And it's funny that you say that, because we have 100% adopted that. Where you say trust, we say culture.
Mm.
There's plenty of people out there whose resumes are tight. You know what I mean? Like their ability to take a client and achieve results is undeniable. It's without question. But you're a shitty human being.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a fit for the culture, you know. And one of the things that I feel tremendously grateful for in our organization is, as we develop this thing going, you know, the cliche is fire fast, hire slow. Yeah, we want to do it right the first time, because we've done it wrong in the past. So this is what we're going to do. Like, we're all going to shoulder this burden that is the growth and the mission of Next Level. And we're going to go, and it's going to be awesome. And along the way, we're going to take our time in building this team and adding extra bodies to this organization, because if it doesn't help us move faster, it only stalls us out and moves us slower.
Yep.
And everybody's on board with that mission. They're totally okay when they get asked to do a little bit more for a short period of time, because they understand the consequences of adding somebody too fast or adding somebody who we're not ready to have yet.
Right.
Right. So having that culture, that high trust and high performance, it can be slower than we want it to be, but when you get it, it's there forever.
Yeah, that's cool. Have you heard the I know we're getting close to time here, but have you heard the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone, if you want to go far, go together?
100%. Absolutely.
You know which one I was when I started coaching with you.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't got time for you. I'm going. I got places to go, people to see. Let's get this.
Mm-hmm.
I think the type of leader that I became during the time coaching, with Next Level, is I became the type of leader that people might actually want to go on that long journey with.
Yeah.
And it's totally true. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And there's nothing fun about going alone. It's lonely. It's not going to fulfill you. It's not going to push all the buttons that, and there's going to be days where it sucks. It feels more like more work to stop, slow down, and train someone to be able to, feed themselves. And that to me, that's the Trojan horse for leaders, and especially super busy, highly successful folks. The Trojan horse is, don't take the bait of, I'll do it myself, I'll handle it, because it's just that. It's a Trojan horse. It's gonna destroy you from the inside out, just like the story. But when you can take the time to invest in humans, it starts to feel different. It starts to feel better. So what I wanted to feel better in my body, and I meant it more in a physical sense, but it's funny how it carries over to physical, mental, emotional, spiritual real fast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's transcendent. We create, and I'll explain a little bit of the psychology here, man, because I think this will be of value to everybody listening. We start with that physical foundation, because that's real time, immediate feedback. What's working, what's not, what's in alignment, what's not, what serves me in this season of my life versus what no longer serves me from seasons past. We get that feedback immediately. Am I able to wake up in the morning? Can I withstand that cold plunge? Do I like that sauna? Is it high intensity? Is it hot rocks? Is it yoga? Is it bodybuilding? That gives us immediate feedback as to whether we're moving in the right direction or we're just treading water. And with that awareness, now we become in tune with everything that's operating in the background, right? All those other files and folders that we have open in the operating system, right? Oh, wait a minute. Now that I'm engaged in this cathartic activity that is taking care of my physical vessel, I am now open and creating clarity for myself, because I've been so present in that activity that my emotions are no longer clouding my judgment. And when I'm clear, now I can exercise and step into the world as the highest and best version of myself, which would be that spiritual realm at the top of the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So, when it's funny, because people come into the next level experience with the notion that I'm just going to get fit.
I'm gonna start feeling good. And it's like,
Yeah.
just wait. That's the beginning.
Right. Well, and it's so highly transactional. You're trading money for a service, right? You can go to the dentist and get a filling, and it could be nothing more than trading money for a service.
Mm-hmm.
When you start to, and sometimes you need to do that. Somebody's in pain, and that's what we do. We're gonna have a transactional piece that has to be there, a baseline piece that has to be there. But ultimately, why we're there, why we exist, is a transformational thing.
Yep.
It's more about being than doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you stop trading money for services like you guys do, man, the sky's the limit, because there's plenty of people out there that can help you get fit. There's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of programs that can get a result. May not be long lasting, maybe all these other things. Maybe there's not a bunch, but it seems like a bunch of people think they can. But there's very few out there doing what Next Level is doing in terms of creating a transformational process that's certainly going to get the result that you're looking for, but you're going to do it in a way that it's changed from the inside out.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. That's huge. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a rare thing, man. Which is why I resonated with your stuff when I started reaching out to begin with. I'm just saying, hey, we're alike.
100%, man. Iron sharpens iron, and it's really important, coming back to the whole beginning of this conversation with intentional adversity. When that intentional adversity doesn't have to be something that's physically hard or a new mental challenge. That intentional adversity could just be at the most basic level, being willing to look inside and explore, am I okay with just being okay? And if not, am I okay with what's going to be required of me to achieve something better? That's a really tough conversation. And I would argue that it's easier to endure something physical than to have that conversation with yourself.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's no doubt. The internal work, the going deeper into stuff that you may not want to uncover sometimes, that's the hard work, but it's the most rewarding work you'll ever do by a lot.
100%, by a mile, hands down. Where can the Next Level Progress Always audience find you, support you, check out your handiwork?
Oh Lord, Instagram, baby. I'm 39 and I'm like right in that middle point of like, I shouldn't be on Instagram this much, but I am, because it's a good medium. And actually, I pulled up Instagram with a patient today, like on my computer, and she was an older lady. She didn't have Instagram, but she was asking some questions. So there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of good content. So I'd say Instagram, Ryan Coulon DDS. And the other resource that I'd love for people to go check out, because it's not just for dentists and dental teams, but I think it's for everyone in life, is www.insperoteam.com, INSPERO team.com. That's my coaching consulting stuff. We do a lot of strategic planning, core values work with people. We do emotional intelligence training for dentists and dental teams. I think it's the behavioral piece that, dentists always want to take another course, and I got to get better. But if you can't get the information off the shelf, what's the point? So to me, that's where we're different than, in the dental world. I'm not teaching you how to do a crown prep. You probably already know how to do a crown prep. Now, you may not know how to help another human being who's struggling with 8 different varieties of fear and scarcity and all the other things, choose that for themselves. How do you get someone to decide that they're worth spending that kind of money in dentistry on? So I know you resonate with that message.
Oh, 100%, man. That's awesome.
Like finds like in life. That's what I know.
100%, dude. 100%. InspiroTeam.com. Go check them out and support what Ryan's got going on. Tons and tons of value my man is bringing to the world. Remember, guys, if you want progress always, you just got to do 3 things. Keep your promises, do hard things,
and make yourself proud. Lather, rinse, repeat. Shout out to our sponsors. Check out the show notes we'll get you guys hooked up with some gear, supplements, etc. Everything's there for you. And remember, when you're ready to have that conversation and step into alignment with your highest and best self, reach out the next level. There's a link in the show notes and we can get that conversation going.
Don't wait.
I appreciate you, brother, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, be good. Progress always.